What's approaching the supreme moment, reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead.
What's good? Alright, let's go ahead and get started with this. I know there was some interest in it, but finally went ahead and put in some work in my main JP account. So here is the Hell Fighter 17 at about 90% potential. These are pretty much the stats at this point, so you can see that 13,071 HP, 13,081 for attack, and 8,800 for defense roughly. So he's not bad. I do want to note that I think the original UR version of this Hell Fighter 17 is much more badass looking in terms of the card design, but you know, just kind of wanted to note that, and that's probably the reason why I went ahead and wanted to max this guy's essay out and put in some work on the potential system. Alright, so let's cover the leader skills and stats a little bit, but as always, definitely make sure to like the video, and if you're new, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button. Alright, so he's got the leader skill of intelligence and physical types, plus 3 key, HP, attack, and defense, increase of 30%. Super attack is a hell breaker that causes supreme damage with a rare chance to stun the enemy. The passive skill will increase attack by 90% and key plus 2 when facing only one enemy. So there's a little bit of a restriction there, and you'll see that throughout the video of the differences when the passive kicks in and it doesn't. Alright, so link skills, he's got Fear and Faith, that'll add plus 2 key. Android Assault, that'll increase defense by 1,000. Brutal Beatdown, that's 10% increase to attack. Shocking Speed will add plus 2 key. GT will add plus 2 key. Nightmare is going to add 10% toward attack, and Fierce Battle is going to add 15% to attack. He's got a 12 key multiplier of 135%, and as you can see, maxed out, his stats are the following: HP at 13,761, attack at 13,381, and defense at 9,491. So at 90% roughly, I mean, there's not that much of a difference, so you know, I figured it'd be okay to go ahead and do a showcase for this guy. So like I said, you'll see differences in, you know, when he's facing more than one enemy versus when he's only facing one. You'll see the damage potential fluctuate up and down depending on that. So just keep that in mind, and that's certainly, it makes a difference, honestly. The 90% definitely does. So we're going to go ahead and start on the Turles Dokkan event. It's, you know, it's pretty much the newest boss event available, so might as well just kind of test it out there. And in terms of the team setup, it's pretty much the double lead Kid Buu setup, and you'll see him linked up with pretty much Janemba for the most part, just because there's quite a bit of link skills that he does share, like Nightmare, Fierce Battle, and I think Fear and Faith. I'm not quite sure on the Brutal Beatdown if Janemba has that, but I know for a fact he shares at least 3 link skills, so that you know, adds a little bit of a boost toward Hell Fighter 17's attack. So as you can see, I mean, when it's only one enemy, it does fluctuate to about, you know, 891,000, given that, you know, Cooler did provide an extra 30% there. But yeah, you can definitely tell the difference between the 90% when it's kicking in versus when it's not. So yeah, type advantage here, so I'm hoping he'll do pretty decent. 770,000 is roughly about, you know, on average where he'll be at in terms of damage potential. And he did crit for about 630,000, so I mean, that's certainly not bad there. Alright, so this is kind of the best setup in terms of, you know, the round with different units. I mean, having Janemba and Cooler provides the maximum boost within my deck for Hell Fighter 17, so ideally that's kind of the best case scenario for this guy in terms of attacking. So you'll see the Dokkan mode kicking in, so let's see, you know, how much in potential he's got. So without the critical, he's hitting for about 914,000. I mean, that's, you know, nothing too crazy, but nothing too bad either. Alright, so we're back down to having more than one enemy, so you can tell the passive of 90% increase to attack is not kicking in, neither is the key boost. So we'll see, you know, what his potential is. Maybe instead of roughly like 700,000-ish, you're looking more like 400,000 to 500,000 in potential. Yeah, 405,000, so it definitely does make a difference at 90%. And he's critting for about 398,000 against Vegeta there. But the good news is, for most of the newest Dokkan events, I mean, they typically only have one enemy that you're facing, which is the boss. So in that scenario, I mean, he could do fine. In terms of the, you know, events like Super Battle Road, it's going to be a little bit difficult, I guess, for this guy to fully be taken advantage of because of, you know, obviously SBR has more than one enemy for the most part. So that 90% doesn't activate for the majority of the time. But, I mean, with this round setup, I mean, he's got the potential for about 890,000 in terms of, you know, damage output. So, he's certainly not bad. At 90%, he's a decent unit. Yeah, so with the critical against Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, I mean, he was able to hit for about 800,000, so certainly not bad. He's actually a pretty decent unit. And like I said initially, I really love the card design for the UR version. That's kind of why I was like, alright, you know what, I'm at least going to max this motherfucker's SA, and depending on how many dupes I get, I might put in some work, you know, so... I ended up getting like 3 dupes, so I pretty much unlocked the top left, bottom right, and top right paths. So I was like, whatever. All right, I've got orbs left over. I'll just go ahead and feed him some orbs. The boy looked like he wanted to eat anyway. I like the name too, Hellforged Warrior, Hell Fighter number 17. You know, it's pretty tight. Alright, so another Dokkan mode with type advantage against the Gogeta, so let's see how he does. And I'm really waiting on a damn androids category, you know, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen, and somebody left a comment that really kind of made some sense. Eventually, you know, the Android 21, I guess, the new... what is it, Majin Android 21 that came out on Fighters. I mean, she's gonna be released in Dokkan Battle. There's no doubt about that. So, I think with her release, it would make sense that she would be a category lead for the androids. I mean, it kind of makes sense. I don't know. I mean, it'd be kind of tight if it was the hybrid mix where it was, you know, androids and the Majin types, you know what I mean? So maybe at some point they'll actually cross different categories within one leader skill, you know what I mean? Like, it might be like, you know, the 150% boost to, let's say, the android category, but yeah, I don't know, like a 50% or 90% boost toward another category, you know, kind of thing. That would definitely make it a little bit more flexible in terms of team building and whatnot, but we'll have to see if that actually happens or not. Alright, so we'll see how he does in this rotation again. I mean, pretty well. Pretty good setup. I mean, it is Super Android 17, so it's going to be a hell of a damage reduction here, but, you know, even against him, I guess we'll be able to see how much in damage he could potentially do here. So like I said, with this setup, he's looking close to about 900,000 with the potential output. Obviously, he only hit for about 255 with the critical, but 900,000 output. I mean, it gives you an idea of what his setup is. And I forgot to mention, I did go with level 9 for additional attack and level 15 for criticals with this guy. I mean, not level 15, level 12. I debated whether I wanted to go level 15 to heavy, for a more heavier focus on criticals, but when that 90% kicks in, it definitely does help. So I figured a little bit extra levels and additional attack wouldn't hurt. So that's kind of the setup with this guy. I would recommend a variation between the two, either level 9 for combos and level 12 for criticals, or level 6 for additional attack and level 15 for criticals. I mean, either way, you can't go wrong with that. I've said this before. I'm not really a big fan of evasion. It really doesn't benefit that much for me personally, even for support type units. I mean, I really don't feel the need to feed dodge levels really, so I tend to focus more on additional attack and criticals for the most part. I mean, overall, this unit is pretty decent. I mean, he's doing fairly well, and I needed to start building out my extreme intelligence team a little bit more anyway. So he kind of fits the bill for that. And I would put that free-to-play Ginyu card in this team, but for this showcase video, he didn't really have any link skills that would benefit him. But in terms of a normal, team run, I mean, I would probably include him as part of the extreme intelligence type team because, of his damage reducing abilities in addition to, his attack and defense increase percentages. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not quite sure. I'd probably replace Metacooler out of this group and put Ginyu back in because my Metacooler is only, I mean, he's got no dupe pass unlocked. There's no real work on the potential system, so he's not really that strong. He's only in there because of, his great passive skill. I mean, that's the only reason why he's in here. So, yeah, I mean, that's probably what I would recommend in terms of team builds. In Janemba, I actually have all dupe paths unlocked. I just haven't, maxed his SA yet, so I mean, I've got the strength version too, so I'm like really debating whether I want to invest the potential orbs into this guy. I mean, I could essentially get him to 100% if I really wanted to, but I'm just not quite sure if I want to go that route right now. Especially since I don't really use him that often, you know what I mean? So, who the hell knows? Alright, so another Dokkan mode here. It was definitely kind of a pain in the ass going through this boss. I mean, Janemba dodges like left and right, so it can be a little bit of a pain in the ass. Alright, so let's see how he does. Alright, no crits, 800,000. I mean, that's alright, I guess. Alright, so yeah, that's pretty much the testing of this Hell Fighter 17 at 90%. I know there's a lot of interest in it, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and appreciate you watching.